Want a business you love that pays you well? Want a lifestyle where you can do what you want, when you want? Then you are in the right spot. It's time to overcome online overwhelm with OnlineMasterPlanSeries.com. Here's your host and one of the OMS mentors, Laura Waage.
So, Andrew, everybody talks about systemizing their business, but few actually know how to put it in practice. What is the first step that you take with a client when you're helping them to develop systems and processes for automation?
Well, I guess the first thing is, what is it that they want to achieve? What is the big picture? Where do they want to get to by putting systems in place? Once you've got that idea of what it is that they're trying to achieve, then you start looking at, okay, who are the people that, before you even do who, you look at what are the steps. What's the breakdown of those steps to get to that? So it's almost like that age-old thing, how do you make a cup of tea or how do you bake a cake? You really have to break down the steps, the individual parts of the steps, because sometimes you will miss a step out if you don't really break it down. You want to make sure you've covered everything. Once you've covered it all, then you go look at who is responsible for each of those steps. So essentially what you're doing is you're mind mapping the landscape. You're putting out a big picture of what it is you want to achieve. You're following individual steps, and then you're creating a plan around that in order to achieve that end result. So it's a challenge to do that sometimes. You really have to start thinking about it because we all do it automatically. We don't actually think of the steps. You've really got to sit down and go, okay, what are these breakdowns? What are the individual steps to the nth degree? And then I can start attaching people's roles to it so that I know exactly who's responsible in order to get that job done.
Yeah, it's interesting because one of the things I always tell my clients, especially my corporate clients, is that time spent in thought is time very well spent. And a lot of people don't take that step back to be able to say, okay, let me think through my business. Let me map out all the different aspects of my business. Because like you said, once you have that clear landscape, then determining what steps have to take place and who's going to take responsibility for each step becomes an incredibly simple thing to do. Simple isn't always easy, but it does become a simple thing to do once you have that mind-mapped landscape in place.
Absolutely. Yep. I agree.
That's it for this episode. Don't let your next promising idea stop dead in its tracks because your overwhelm gets in the way. You need our free tips. Head on over to OvercomeOnlineOverwhelm.com now.